Enterprise Core Technologies. Welcome back to our video series. For those new to my channel, please like, share, and subscribe. On this video, let's now do a technical review, retrospective, and PI planning. First, we will do a technical review. This is a review which we had planned it before, and we're gonna see what we have done. First, we do a basic OSPF router. So under OSPF, we do a OSPF basic route propagation, and then we propagate the default route with the using default information originate. Next is the basic router BGP. So we use eBGP for basic route propagations, and then we propagate the default route with the neighbor XXX default originate. If you remember in the data core 01 router. Next is the creation of internet service. We connect the GNS3 to the internet. We configure not overload. And then we have the DHCP deployment. So we configure the DHCP in the Cisco router and then migrate it in the Linux VM. And in the Linux VM, we configure multiple scope of DHCP. And we also have the TACAX Plus server. So we configure a TACAX Plus server in a VM, Linux VM, and use it as a access login for routers. And finally, we define a different types of user privileges. Alright, so that's our technical review. If you have any questions, please write down below in the comment. Alright, so let's proceed to retrospective. So in this retrospective, we will discuss what are the unexpected things that we encounter. So first, in the route redistribution, the route propagation from OSPF to BGP, and the passive interface of OSPF, at which we only allow other than the port that will form OSPF neighbor. So anti-route propagation from BGP, this is the redistribution, so we use redistribution. Next is the GNS3 incompatibility of the VMware player. So before, we're using the VMware player, which is the free version of the VMware, but the GNS3 cannot connect VM host using the VMware player. There is a incompatibility, and also with the GNS3 NIO adapter is not compatible with the VM even when we already use the virtual box. So we remove the NIO adapter and use a WIN pickup to connect the physical adapter with the virtual adapter of the VM. And then on the DHCP local pools, we created a dummy DHCP on the local. This is to allow the server to detect the active listening port, which is the ENP0S3 ports. Without the dummy DHCP, the DHCP will not run properly since it cannot detect the subnets or the DHCP scope that we created, which is on the other router on data AGG and HQAGG VLAN 10. And then the TACAX Plus server privileges. So on the TACAX server, we can modify and allow particular action for each user. Before, we just assign the privilege level, but that's not enough. So we use the CMD, for example, CNE enable. So this is now our retrospective. Next is the PI planning. So what are we planning to do more on this network? First is the IP clustering. So we will now re-IP the network, all the routers based on the locations. So we will reorganize the IP addressing per site, which allows to summarize the small subnet into one single subnet. So later on we will discuss further. And then create an IP addressing database for the ease of assigning IP subnets. So we will just use here a Excel file, and then we will now transition to three-tier network architecture. On the next slide, I will show you the three-tier network architecture. In this new network architecture, we will separate the LAN gateway and the WAN router, and then we will aggregate the IP at the LAN router before sending it to the core. And then we will now transition the core eBGP to mesh iBGP, but on the upcoming videos it will just be a iBGP, which allow the expansion of the core. Then we will optimize the networks. We will segregate traffic subnets with the use of the route maps and IP prefix list. And then we will also standardizing the host names and the geo clustering of site based on location. So we will just say this site is located somewhere. So later on we will discuss further. And then the internet service provider infrastructure. So we will create an infrastructure for the ISP, giving a internet service. Right. So next slide. So this is now the slide. So this is what I'm referring to with the host name. So we will decide. So we will just say maybe for a city like Makati City, and then abbreviate it, and the type. So this is core. I mean the type is what site type is this. So we will also define. So this is the HQ. So it will be MKT HQ. What role is this? This is the core, and then 01. And then we will also assign a similar AS. So we will form an iBGP. While going down to the WAN router will be an eBGP, and also same host name. And the WAN router going down to the LAN router will be OSPF. So similar with that. And then we'll create a internet service provider. So we will segregate the data IGR. It will now be part of the ISP. Alright, so on the LAN router, so this is now our users. So there will be on this part. So this will be a site, and then type is the data, and then role is the core. So this is our data. So on this site, so we can see all the servers. And then we are now having a future expansion. So we will expand this. So when we expand this, we will now create a mesh iBGP. Okay, and then we will do the same. We have a WAN router, LAN router, and the LAN network. Okay, so let's go to the. So right now this is the current setup. So we'll now segregate this. So this is now, let's say, Makati, then this is now, say, Quezon City, and then these two we will now segregate as internet service provider. So and then we'll demonstrate how to migrate or how to add the WAN router here, and much as possible a small the traffic disruption will be minimal. So we'll try to show or to demonstrate on how to manage the impact when doing the expansions. Alright, so See you on my next video.